everyone, and welcome to my review of Finding Dory. Considering that summer is upon us, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to be wearing these. I just feel like it. So, Finding Dory. This is, if you didn't know, this is the sequel to Finding Nemo, which was the animated film released in 2003, made by Pixar. This is also made by Pixar. So yeah, we've waited a long time for this one, 13 years. So, the basic plot of Finding Dory. Oh, excuse me. Bit of a burp coming on. So yeah, the basic plot of Finding Dory is that it's set about a year after the events of Finding Nemo, and Dory is having flashbacks. She's remembering her parents, and she goes on a quest to basically find her parents. She gets taken into this marine centre. Marlin and Nemo have to go along with her to try and help her, and along the way she meets loads of different characters who will help her ultimately find her parents. And that's it. That's as basic as it gets. Finding Dory. That's the plot. So, Finding Dory. I have to confess, I was slightly worried about this when I heard they were going to do this. I thought, ooh, it's been a long time since the first movie. I didn't even know how they could make a sequel to the first one. The first one seemed to be a great standalone story in itself, and I mean, it still is. But I have to say, I really enjoyed Finding Dory. It was good. It was very solid. I had a lot of nostalgia when watching this. I thought it was a great amount of fun. I think the cast are really good. Like, Ellen DeGeneres as Dory obviously becomes a main character in this film, and Marlin and Nemo go to supporting roles. Ellen DeGeneres is great. She's very charming. You really get to see more of the emotional side of Dory. I mean, you kind of do in the first one, but she's really just a accomplice along with the ride. It wasn't about her. This time it's about her. And especially when you see the flashbacks of her parents, and that really works, and it hits home. I mean, it's not like a tearjerker like Inside Out or anything. I mean, that really was that really was powerful. But this is still it's very sweet. It's very sweet. It's done very nicely, and you really believe that she really wants this. You know, you believe her emotional journey. I suppose there's an element of repetition in the sense that, you know, Dory gets taken into the marine centre, but then again, it's not really. It kind of is, but it's not. I don't know. I mean, with Finding Nemo, obviously, because Nemo was taken, and you know, there's a nice couple of nods back to the first one, and there's some really nice moments between Nemo and Marlin as well, like the father and son relationship, because they didn't really get to develop that very much in the first one because they were separated, and that was the whole point of the first one anyway. But it's now that Nemo and Marlin are back together, you get to spend more time with them, and you see how Nemo's the voice of reason for Marlin, and I thought that was a very lovely thing that they did, and Nemo made Marlin appreciate Dory a lot more, and you know, there's some tension as well. Like when Marlin says to Dory, "Oh, just go and stand over there and forget," because that's what you do is best. Marlin can be a bit of a stubborn prick at times. I mean, unintentionally. He's a good guy with a good heart, but he's stubborn. He's overprotective. He worries, but you can't blame the guy. I mean, his wife got killed, and most of his kids got killed at the start of the first movie, and that was really that was really quite powerful. But this is a bit different. You've got a load of new characters in this one as well. Like you've got Hank the octopus. Hank is just so cool. There's just something about him. He's just really cool. He's also quite stubborn as well, and he's basically in it for himself. He wants to take Dory's tag so he can go to Cleveland. He doesn't want to be in the ocean for some reason or another, which they don't really explain. And you know, their friendship is nicely developed, and like he thinks that she's annoying because she keeps forgetting everything. And you know, they have a good relationship, and his loyalties change, and he helps Dory in the end, which is great. I like Destiny and Bailey. They're good characters. I think they overdo the whale speaking a bit. I don't think they needed to do it continuously. It got a bit tiring. I was really worried, actually, when I was watching it. I was like, this is getting a bit tiring now. I mean, because in the first movie, it's genuinely quite funny when Dory goes, "What's going on?" With this, they do it a lot. A lot. They do it a lot towards the end as well. I liked the, I can't remember what it's called, like the echo sound or something or other like that Bailey has. And he's like, "Ooh," like that was quite funny. At the first time it was, anyway. I think the climax gets a bit long. I think it's a bit drawn out, like, because I'm not going to spoil what happens, but there's like a truck chase, and that goes on a bit. I think they could have cut down on that somewhat. I would have appreciated a little bit more nods to the first one. Like, we don't see the tank gang. I would have liked to have seen what happened to them, see how they would have evaded the. I mean, because basically, are we to assume they died or what happened? I mean. I'd like to, if they do a third movie, I'd like to see the tank gang come back in the ocean. That would be great. Maybe that could be the premise for the next one, that the tank gang get trapped or something and Nemo goes to find them, finding the tank gang or something like that. I don't know. They haven't. Well, the film ends. When the film ends, it doesn't specifically close the story. It doesn't close the story, but it doesn't. It doesn't leave it open either. Well, it does actually. Sorry, it leaves it. It doesn't specifically set up for a third movie, but it doesn't. It doesn't, go against the idea. It leaves it open for a third movie, but it does close. If this were to be the last one, it does close it off nicely. But I have a feeling, knowing Pixar, they will do another one, because I imagine this movie will take a lot of money. So, yeah. And again, what can you say? Beautiful animation. Pixar have never been amateurs in this department. This film is fantastically animated. All of the underwater stuff looks fantastic, probably even better than the first one. And the first one looks great, especially on Blu-ray. I can't wait to buy this movie on Blu-ray and watch both of the films back to back. It's going to be very interesting to do that, actually. And, there's some nice, moments between Dory and Marlin and Nemo. And particularly, what Pixar always do is they always try and incorporate some kind of heartfelt message in there. And I think with this film, it's very much the fact that, wherever you are, whatever the circumstances are, whether you remember or not, you've always got a family. No matter how hard it is to find it, there's always a family for you there. And that is a great message. It's a great message about family. Essentially, the first film was like a parenting course. The first film was like, this is how you don't father your son. And the second one is like, you have a family everywhere. So, not just your parents, you have more than just your parents. And that's what Dory realises as she goes along. She realises she has more than just her parents. She has Marlin and Nemo as her family as well. And, it's kind of predictable in that sense, but it works. It's the heart of the movie. It's what brings this all together, because this movie is a big fun adventure as well. But at its core, it's about a family, and it's about a family coming together. And I like that. I mean, the comedy is great. I did laugh quite a bit. I did laugh quite a lot, especially with Hank. But I don't think the comedy's as strong as the first one. But the first one is a masterpiece, so it's really hard to get to that same level. Yeah, it's a very nicely done film. It's not gonna change the Pixar movies like Inside Out did, for me anyway. I mean, Inside Out really impacted on me quite a lot. I was blown away by that film. When I saw it last year, I was like, oh my gosh, that was awesome. That was just brilliant. I have to see that again. That was genius. This isn't quite on that level. But if there is an opportunity to go and see it again, I will do. I have a lot of affection for the first one, and I think I'm gonna. As I was watching it, it took me a while to get into it. I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna think of this, but as I got into it, I'm like, yeah, I can appreciate this, and it's a good sequel. It's a good sequel. I think if you're a die-hard fan of the original, you may like it. I think it's a film that's ultimately going to divide people. It's either going to be great, or it's either going to be bad for some people. For me, it's great. It's great. It's very enjoyable. and I don't think it's as good as the first one, obviously, but it's still great. It's directed well as well. I think the same director has come back, Andrew Stanton. Yeah, I think he's returned. He does a good job here. I don't think his direction is as strong as the first, but it's good enough. It'll do. It'll do. Pixar. It'll do. And I have to also mention very briefly, the short film beforehand was also very lovely. It was a film called Piper. It was about this little bird who was sort of... It was a coming-of-age story. It's about this bird who wants to sort of face nature. That was very lovely. That was beautifully animated as well, and that was a very lovely story. Pixar, if you know Pixar, with all of their films beforehand in the cinema, they release a short film. They play a short film as well, to showcase some of their other styles of animation. Like, what they usually do is they have a story that's very short and they tell it through the animation or the music or the sound or loads of different things. Like the last year's one for Inside Out was this about these two volcanoes that were in love, which sounds a bit strange when you think about it, but when you watch it, it's really quite beautiful. The one for The Good Dinosaur was a bit weird. That was about this boy that wanted to be a superhero. With this, it's the Piper short, and I think the Piper short is beautiful, really, really good. I can't wait to watch that again on Blu-ray. Yeah, overall, Finding Dory is a great movie. It's a great sequel. It's not the best Pixar film ever. It's not going to change the series. It's not going to go down as a classic, but it's a ton of fun. And if you're a fan of the original, you're going to have fun with it. I think younger generations will appreciate this a lot as well. And hopefully, if they haven't seen the first one, it'll encourage them to go back to the first one. But I would have thought people would have seen the first one by now, because it has been 13 years. But yeah, and the score by Thomas Newman, I believe it's Thomas Newman anyway. Yeah, I think it's Thomas Newman. It's okay. It's okay. It's not as good as the first score, but like I said, it'll do. It'll do. And interesting going into the Sea Life Centre as well, seeing all the different exhibitions and areas in Pixar animation style, so in the virtual style. But yeah, I enjoyed Finding Dory a lot. I'm going to rate Finding Dory an 8 out of 10. Yeah, it was very well done. As I say, if this is to be the last of the Finding films, I should say, the Finding Nemo films, then I'm happy. If it isn't, I'm also happy. I'm also happy for it to do one more. I don't think they should do any more than 3. I think 3 is enough. But yeah, no, I would recommend it. So, thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'm Mr. Toddus11. See ya.